I'm a little bit excited today because I'm going to be chatting with global jewellery company owner, Samantha Wills. She's an absolute sweetheart. I've known her for a little while. She's honestly one of the nicest people I've ever met. She's an entrepreneur. She has a foundation. She does good things in the world. She's a positive role model for everybody out there. And I feel like everyone owns a little piece of her jewellery. So I'm very excited to talk to her. I cannot wait. I'm so happy to have you here, Samantha.
Thank you for having me. I'm the one that's thrilled. So thank you for hosting me.
Truly, I've been stalking you. Let's be honest.
It's gotten a bit creepy, but no, it's such a pleasure.
Because you live in two different countries. Yeah. You live in New York City, and then you live part time here. So you're back and forth all the time.
The schedule's a little crazy, but no, I'm glad we found time to make it work.
I know.
So thank you.
Me too. And so I want to talk a little bit about business and your ethos around that.
Yep.
I did read that you said being a good leader is about having empathy and bravery. How would you say empathy comes into being a good leader?
I think empathy is all about, it's different to sympathy, and I think you really have to separate the two. Empathy is, being able to put yourself in someone else's shoes, I think, and see something from their perspective. I think in leadership and specifically in the Samantha Wills brand, our team is made up of it's a young female team, and I think having empathy for that generation, for women in business these days, it just comes with a different approach. And I think that empathy allows you to see things with much more perspective. And I think when you have perspective and know what motivates different people and especially what demotivates them, you get more effective workplace, you get a happier culture, which is great for, everything involved in business. So it's something that I take very seriously, and I think it's as important in business as it is in life.
And what about bravery? What are your thoughts around being brave in leadership?
I think being brave in leadership means, you're the one willing to take that risk, and when kind of everyone's coming at you this way, you need to be brave enough to be walking this way. It doesn't mean that, everything's going to work out great all the time, but you have to wear that. And I think that, the best leaders take the biggest risks, and then they also own their failures. But it's about being, going against the crowd when the market's down. You've got to, take your team through it. And when everything's against you, it's about, moving forward and dusting yourself off and showing up tomorrow.
Speaking of being brave, recently you did a very, very brave thing. You wrote an article which I read and broke my heart, as I'm sure it did for everyone who read it, about the force being female and about your sexual assault that happened to you.
Yeah.
I would love if you could share a little bit about that and just tell us why you thought now was a good time to come out and talk about it.
I was kind of writing it over a few weeks, and then I'd kind of shelve it for a bit, and when Taylor Swift came out with her counter-sue against the Denver DJ who now, came out that he did assault her and groped her, I just thought it was such a brave thing to do, to take a stand against something that has been happening for so long. A few months prior to that, the T-shirt that I'm wearing in the picture that I accompanied along with the post says "The force is female." And there's also a very famous slogan and T-shirt that was in the market probably about 6 months ago. It probably hit the market, where it says "The future is female." And so I kind of saw the future is female, and I think it's great. What I thought that slogan actually did would shut people's ears down for people that don't like the word feminism, and I think it really closes the conversation prematurely. So when I saw this T-shirt, "The force is female," I bought it, and it was in my closet for a bit, and I was like, what does that actually mean? Like, what does "the force is female" mean to me? And so I kind of started going through different scenarios, and whether that's, in the article, I talk about a video that I saw where there's a classroom of young kids, boys and girls, and the teacher is like, "Oh, guys, let's draw a surgeon." So the kids are drawing away, and they're like, "This surgeon's name's John, and this surgeon's name's Gary, and he's this, and he's that, and, a firefighter and a jet pilot." And it turned out that out of all the kids in the class, 61 of the kids drew all these as males, and 5 of the kids drew females in these roles. And I opened the article by saying, and my true belief is, while I hope that the future is equal, the force right now needs to be female. And what I mean by that is we've got a lot of work to do as females to lose the gender stereotypes that a certain career is only for one gender. And we've got work to do that, you know, when you're walking down the street, and this happens to my girlfriends a lot, and, you know, someone yells out or whistles at you or makes you feel uncomfortable in some way, our instinct is to put our head down, and it embarrasses us. And we're like, oh, you know, we just want to get away as quick as possible. And I'm like, why are we the ones embarrassed and ashamed when that happens? Like, it doesn't make me feel comfortable. There needs to be a rebuttal against that. And I decided to share the story of my sexual assault in that article as, you know, I didn't want it to be the full focus of the article. I wanted it to be another example of something happened to me. I didn't feel empowered at the time to speak up for whatever reason. And then a few weeks later, I was put in a position where I chose to deal with it differently and show force at that time. And what I really wanted the takeaway of the article to be is that force is different to everyone. We're in a stage, and so beautifully, that we have this momentum as women where it's changing conversations. It's, you know, there's this shift around what is acceptable, and what is just being in our mind for so long is just, oh, that's just how it is, so why question it?
And the response has just been incredible, right?
The response has been very overwhelming. I think when you have a platform, as you know, you can, you know, you have the opportunity to push these communications, right? So, you know, you can see on metrics how many times it's been read, but you don't actually know how it's reaching people. So you don't know what frame of mind they're in when they're reading it. You don't know what conversations they're having about it. And this article, you know, is different to kind of things I've written on the Samantha Wills Foundation platform before, which are usually based around business. But we just had this outpouring. Like, I've received probably well over 150 messages now of women, some of them sharing their own stories that they've never spoken about before, some of them being like, thank you for empowering me, or for allowing me to let go of this guilt that I've carried with similar experiences. Sadly, it's all too common, but the undertone of all the messages was relief that there is now starting to be a shift.
Can we talk about the word feminist or feminism? Because I feel like sometimes it's a bit of a dirty word.
Right.
And other times it's like this empowering word.
Right.
What, in your opinion, is being a feminist?
Being a feminist is wanting equal rights for men and women. And to me, you know, equal rights is human rights. I think that the word over time has definitely had a very negative connotation attached to it, and I understand that as well. I'm definitely not standing on a soapbox, you know, trying to preach one message. I think what is most powerful in this subject is having, where possible, calm conversations and asking why, like, why do you think that, or what is it you've heard about that, and trying to, again, empathy, trying to see it from the other person's perspective. And they might have had a really bad experience with someone that was so extremist, you know, and that's why they associate a negative connotation to the word. I truly believe everyone wants equal rights for men and women. It's I don't think anyone sit there and be like, I don't want that. It's just about how that conversation takes place, I think.
And how it's portrayed.
Yeah.
And do you know what I love about you? You're so nice. You're so nice.
You're so nice.
No, that
so
like
lovely.
when I first met you, I was like Samantha Wills. Oh my gosh, because I worked with you for the first time. I styled you for the collective cover, and I was all nervous because I was like, she's such a big deal. And then I met you, and I was like, oh, she's so nice.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
But what gets me, and because you know, you say I'm nice, like I try to be nice.
Lovely.
I think sometimes kindness or niceness gets mistaken for weakness, where people think they can kind of walk all over you because you're nice and you're just going to take it.
Right.
How do you combat that? Because business is business at the end of the day, and you can be nice about it, but you still have to close the deal, you still have to get the job done.
Right.
How do you find the balance between kindness and business?
Listen, I think it's a really common issue, especially in young female entrepreneurs or leaders or business people. especially when you're leading a team as well, 'cause it's the whole conflict. Like there's always going to be conflict when in business, and you have to address that as a leader. And I know my younger self I was useless. I just hated conflict. And,
did you just send someone else in?
No, I was just like, oh, sorry, you stole from us. I'm really sorry. I'm gonna have to let you go.
Oh my God.
So I think,
I'm sorry you stole from me.
Right. I'll keep the money, kind of.
Keep everything. Go ahead. Do you want some more?
I think it definitely comes with maturity. One of my very best girlfriends, her grandmother would always say to us, do no harm but take no shit. And I was like, I love that concept, because there's a difference between kindness and assertiveness can live in unison. So I think for me, I don't know, I think going back to empathy, putting empathy in things always allows you to see things with kindness. But at the end of the day, you have to get the job done. But I think that you can do it in a kind way and be assertive when you need to be. They can, live in parallel.
I think assertive is the right word. My mum always used that word with me.
She did.
You need to be more assertive, Jules. And I was like, I don't know how to do that. But the older I'm getting a bit more ballsy.
And I think you just get exhausted. You're just like, I don't have time for this to go round and round. Like, let's just get the job done. And you can do that in a kind way, but get it done.
I love that. Yeah. I just love that about you. You also speak of authenticity and being your true self, which I love, because I feel like that's a lot harder than what it appears to be.
Right.
How would you say you keep your authenticity?
I think it's a hard one in this day and age, because everyone's a publisher, right? Well, no matter what you do, you've got an Instagram feed, or everyone's got their own personal brand.
Yep.
And I think that, I try to maintain authenticity through instinct. So if something doesn't feel right, or it feels forced, or if, you're kind of lining something up on Instagram to post and you're like, oh, should I, shouldn't I? Like, usually the answer is you probably shouldn't if you're questioning it.
Yep.
I think, I get asked a lot with the Samantha Wills brand with the jewellery. It's like, if I'm starting out, do I have to do a brand deck, or, do I have to invest all this money into professional branding, strategy? I think if we're all our own personal brands, use that kind of as your due north and really sit with it for a bit and use your instinct and listen to that. And I think as women especially, we're really lucky to have instinct as, a very strong emotion and guide for us. And if it doesn't feel authentic, it's probably not.
Yeah, it's that gut feeling, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Yeah, I believe that. It's always right. Your
Your
instinct and your gut is always right.
And I think it's about that consistency of staying true to your values. Like if something doesn't feel, as simple as that. If it doesn't feel right to you, it's not in line with your personal values, then it's not authentic to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
We should be writing this down.
That's really good. Really, really good. I live by that. I really do. And you've got this amazing foundation, the Samantha Wills Foundation, which you've only just recently started. How long has that been?
We launched it at the start of last year, and we did a kind of soft launch just to see kind of how it would go, and we were just so overwhelmed with the outpouring. So the reason I launched it was I was lucky enough to be doing a lot of corporate speaking and telling the story of the Samantha Wills jewellery journey over the last 14 years. And I was doing a lot of speaking to young female entrepreneurs, and when I say young, I mean young in the entrepreneurial journey. And they would very graciously line up after I'd do my talk, and I'd try and get through to see everyone, and they were all asking me the same or similar questions. And because I had to get through and see everyone, I didn't feel I was giving the integrity of reply that they deserved for the question. And so I was like, if I could have a platform where I can actually reply to all of these people with, in-depth answers and kind of the integrity that in which they're asking it. And then I also went back to when I started, when I was 21 and in 2004, where barely anyone had a website, and I'm sitting there in $80,000 worth of debt as a startup at 3 o'clock in the morning. And I was like, if 21-year-old me could have had a portal that she could have logged into to not feel so isolated or so alone at that time, I think that would be really powerful. So I wanted to create the Samantha Wills Foundation, because I so modestly continue to name things after myself. So I launched the Samantha Wills Foundation, firstly to share my hurdles specifically, the prerequisite when we interview women on there is like, we don't need the overnight success story or the glamours or the, you know, the high note story. It's like, tell us what gives you anxiety, what are the hurdles, why are you crying in the shower, how do you dust yourself off? Because I think it's those vulnerabilities that when we share those, that is what's really empowering, and that brings a community of women together, and we've seen great success with that.
Yeah. Because I feel like no one escapes those moments. Nobody's not cried in the shower.
No one. And I think when I started the business, it was very much about what you saw in magazines. So the profiling was these edited, beautiful, airbrushed, here's all the success. And I think one of the great things of the digital age is it allows us to humanize things and really connect on what everyone's going through, just not a lot of people talk about.
Yes. So I have read a lot of the stories, and it is comforting. You're right. Because sometimes you're like, you're soaring and everything's going great guns, and business is booming, and everyone needs and wants you, and then something stops,
the phone stops ringing, and
you're like, I'm a failure. I'm nowhere. Everyone's forgotten me. And in those moments you're like, okay, what do I do now? Like, how do I keep on pushing through? And it's so comforting to know that there are so many other people
everyone's
out there.
experiencing. I think the other thing too is, if you're starting out or wherever you are in that journey, you kind of look at Instagram, for example, you're like, oh my gosh, why am I not like her, or how come she's experiencing all this success? You're like, no one is. They're just talking about the high notes. So what we really wanted to strip all that back, and obviously still celebrate the wins and the successes, but be really realistic. In to get there, there's a lot of hurdles and falls and failures along the way.
Because it's true that high notes, I love that. I've never heard anyone say that. The highlight reel.
The highlight reel.
It is. It's hard to... everyone does hold themselves to that, because everyone has Instagram, and you're constantly just looking at it, absorbing it, going through it on a daily basis, seeing everyone's in Europe right now on a summer holiday.
Mykonos. I'm not in Mykonos.
I'm not. It's freezing today. It's like it's so hard to have that comparison constantly in your face.
Absolutely.
And you just have to learn how to make it a healthy comparison and a motivating one, instead of one that brings you down and makes you feel terrible about yourself, because that's not actually what it's for.
But it's not real. So you're comparing yourself to something that's not real, and I think that's the danger. So we really need to make that conversation relative, and it's the vulnerabilities, I think, that really connect women.
Makes me want to work harder so that I can go to Mykonos. That's what it does to me.
We could make a flight tonight, couldn't we?
Instead, I just got a spray tan,
I'm good to go.
Just faking it till I make it today. I want to talk about risk. Risk in life, risk in business. You obviously started out and you took a big risk. I know your story of starting out. You took a stall at Fashion Week. You spent your last $500 on doing that. Huge risk. Luckily, it paid off. What are your feelings around risk? Do you think it's necessary in business and in life?
I definitely do. And obviously, the bigger the risk, the bigger the reward. Obviously, if it's a big risk, sometimes it doesn't always work out. In this day and age, it's awesome that anyone can start a blog or start an online store. There's this accessibility to start your own business, which I think is so great. What it also gives you is transparency, and when you're constantly comparing yourself, so it almost like holds you back in a way. And I think when I first started at 21, a lot of people were like, oh, you were so brave, you started a business at 21. I'm like, I wasn't brave, I was naive and obnoxious, and just had no transparency around how hard it was actually going to be. So I think the risk is much greater now because you see so much more and you know so much more. But I think the risk is what makes it fun, and risk is different at different levels to everyone, right? But I think, and I often say try to fail, because it means you're pushing yourself and you're taking these risks and you're pushing as far as you can, and then if it doesn't work out, you learn from it and you redirect. And I think that's where true growth comes from. So that's based around risk.
But even in life too, like in love, loving somebody is a risk.
It's a huge risk.
What you shared on your blog about your story, huge risk. Like, who knows what's going to happen with that? Thankfully, it came out positively, and you've inspired people to do the same. you know, you can't just give up on love because it doesn't work out the first, 25 times.
How long do we have on this topic?
Everything's a bit of a risk, and I think you're not living unless you're putting yourself out there and jumping in 2 feet.
Absolutely, and I think the authenticity factor in that is where you can let go of the regret, because if you make a decision that is 1,000% authentic to you and it doesn't work out, at least you can be like, oh well, I still stand by my decision, like let's redirect or whatever the consequence is. Bounce back, dust ourselves off. I think the worst thing is when you make a decision against your instinct and it doesn't work out and you're like, shit, that wasn't even really me anyway. And living with that regret, I think, is the most haunting. So in anything in life, when you're making, big decisions and going into risky situations, which is across many topics like you just said, being authentic to yourself is the key to that.
Yeah, always comes back to that, doesn't it?
Definitely.
Tell me, what would be your greatest one pearl of advice for women in business? Having
the passion for your work is very important. It's, I started my business off the love of creativity and wanting to build a brand. So I think if you're going to make that plunge into starting your own business, it's the passion that will get you through the really shitty hard times. Be kind and work hard, as my dad always used to say. And I think the application that I make to that these days is your personal brand is your biggest currency. It's going to get you much further than anything on your CV, and what people talk about, when you're not in the room is how you're perceived. So staying true to your values, having that authenticity and really investing in yourself as a personal brand is going to be the most valuable thing I think you'll do in business.
And just naming everything after yourself. Thank you.
Modestly, yes.
I love that. Because I grew up in Adelaide, and I would go to David Jones, whatever, and see Samantha Wills across there, and then I knew you were a person. I knew you were a real life human being out there somewhere. But now that I'm like, you're Samantha Wills, you're an actual human
in the flesh.
It's so cool.
Some people are like, is that your stage name? I'm like, I'm not a stripper. Like, it's a true brand. So, and I used to beg my parents when I was little. I had an obsession with Young Talent Time and the Chipmunks. So I was like, Mum, please, can I change my name to Whitney Brittany Courtney Wills? She's like, absolutely not. And now my dad likes to joke. He's like, well, if we let you change your name, it wouldn't fit on your packaging. How would it?
So true. You would have made it work. You would have made it work.
Yeah, we would have squished it, stacked it somehow.
Whitney Brittany, I love it. I love it. Don't even get me started on Brittany. I'm obsessed.
Long time fan.
Oh, long time. If I ever met her, I don't know if I'd cope.
She could be sitting on this couch, tea with Jules.
Don't. I can't.
We can make that happen.
Yeah. What is the future? Are we going to see other Samantha Wills things in our future?
I often get asked, what's your exit strategy when you name, a brand as a namesake? And to be honest, I don't have one. I don't ever foresee myself selling my name. I think my business partner has often said to me when I've been uninspired with work, he's like, if jewelry is not what Samantha Wills is moving forward, we can sell the stock down and relaunch as something else. And I think there's real power in that resilience and that bravery to be like, all right, guys, like he was like, hey, let's shut the brand down for 2 years and you can relaunch with whatever it is you want to do. It was such a daunting approach, but really exciting in another way. So I don't know what the future holds, to be honest, and I'm excited about that. I think jewellery for me, I don't have a huge love for jewellery. I have a love for creative. And when I started making jewellery, it was because it was a vehicle that I taught myself to make jewellery. So it was a vehicle for me to be creative. And what the business has allowed me to do, so I often talk about jewellery is the business, but the brand is the why. And to me, I'm really passionate about the why. I'm passionate about connecting with women and having a two-way conversation and speaking with our consumer, not to her. And the business of jewellery allows me that platform. So I hope that this platform continues to grow and can reach more women and have more conversations, because that's what I'm really excited about.
Yeah. Well, that comes through. It definitely comes through.
Thank you.
Your brand is warm, it's inviting, it's achievable.
Thank you.
It's all of those things that I think you've tried to make it. You've done a great job
Jules.
with your everything. And we continue to cheer you on and support you.
Thank you.
And
I can feel that energy all the way from New York, and it's really humbling, I think, to have that not only hometown but, you know, home country support,
Yeah.
and it's really appreciated. Yeah.
Thank you for coming today.
You're the best. Thank you.
Loved it.
Thank you.